This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Barrow. I am Anthony Mormino as we work our way to the middle third portion of February with the Don Handicap run on Sunday afternoon into the sunset, our rear view mirror. And if you were anxiously hoping that Texas and Iowa State women's basketball wouldn't go into overtime and thus cut into the telecast by about 90 seconds, you got your wish.
I didn't see the end of the game. I tuned in.
As they just signed off, and you can usually, always tell when people are not into horse racing. When the guy sent it to Gulfstream, Florida, as if it was a place, you knew he didn't really have any idea that it's Gulfstream Park in Hallandale, Florida. And I'm not so sure. I was doing a 90-minute broadcast on a national sports channel. Is very, very good. The high def, as I've talked about for ages, is just, it's a beautiful sport. The set looked beautiful with the flowers and such. But I think I heard on the broadcast Joel Rosario, and that is the immediate tip-off to me that you are not paying attention.
Well, I also want to get him to get the. Is it Lee or Leah?
Well, there's only one person that thinks it's Lee.
I think it
Larry.
is Lee.
I don't think so.
Well, a woman, B-E-A, is B.
Yes.
She's not Bea.
Right, but that's an English word, meaning meadow. I mean, that's not like, and he's always been called it by other track announcers and everyone on the set. Larry Colmos is the only guy I know that calls him Lee.
All right, well, I was kind of going by Larry Colmos, figuring that he had inquired, but maybe not.
Because he's been around a long time. I mean, fighting it out in stakes races. And, and I always say this, and one thing I'll say about Tom Durkin's told the story before, that he Tom loves words and such, and he'll make phone calls, especially with first-time starters, unless they're coming out of Karen McLaughlin's barn with the Arabian names. He's just like, good luck with that. But, I mean, it could be, but I go by the fact that the guys in New York who are on the broadcast who are familiar with the horse, as I said, he's been really running for 18 months, and everybody but Larry calls him Leah. I mean, that's what I've gone by. But you're right. B. Arthur was B-E-A, etc. But I believe the word means meadow, etc. So if you're a fan of crossword puzzles, you've come across it in your life. But he was
great. Which makes sense. Coming out of greenery, that would make sense usually.
Yeah, I mean, he was. And I thought, the race played out perfectly for him. I was a little surprised, and I didn't hear you yesterday. I know it was a long time ago, so I'm not holding you to Uncaptured, who has clearly gone south of his 2-year-old form.
No, my divorce papers on him
are they?
Long ago.
Okay, I was wondering, it happens. That Miguel Mena just sent him from the inside, which I have to tell you, as much as they talked about Leah being on the front end, etc., I think there are some times when horses, especially in route races, they love somebody else to take the lead for a little while. Get their horse almost to relax and get a cadence without worrying about it. And I thought, I have to tell you, they didn't, the nature of big-time television and feeding the better on horse racing doesn't usually mix. But I would have asked you, Rosario, were you happy as a pig in a sty when you saw another horse run up inside your horse early in the race that I thought allowed Leah to settle? He looked beautiful. And then Seth, he did what I have advocated, the move I love, and I do not care if you get run down the lane. I want separation on the turn.
Exactly in that same category.
I love separation on the turn.
Make your move and make them come get you. Exactly. And they talked earlier in the broadcast, and this is one exception I have with them. They had the conversation about jockeys and seemed to say, well, the best horse is going to get it done, and they're all top. Do you want Joel Rosario on your horse, or do you want Orlando Boccaccio, who rode a great race in that turf race? So I'm not knocking him. But when I'm handicapping, if I got a Rosario or a Velasquez or a Castellano on, that's an extra check mark.
If you saw it, Andy Sterling gave him kind of a pass. And even the Mig mentioned, he's like, boy, for Andy Sterling to give jockeys. And I agree with Seth. it's when you have the jockeys who are the best at their craft. There are usually in big-time competitive stakes races, there's a moment or even a second moment that your talent has to come out. Your non-panic button, your physical skill set, whatever it is. To me, I look at it as if anything in life, you have a bunch of people who are competent and able. Then you have genius. And when you have genius, you get, and listen, they all make mistakes, but you are, like I said, I don't think Joel Rosario panicked when uncaptured, who I have to think, he did not think he was going to see those silks run up inside of him. But I think he was just like, okay, go ahead, take the lead for the first 5 furlongs. Carry me. And then, instead of playing cat and mouse, he's like, listen, a couple things. He knows his horse is in good shape just coming out of a stakes victory. He knows horse is good. If he's thinking behind me is Will Take Charge, who's making the first start since Thanksgiving time, it's like, listen, put the screws to him. Make him run. So he kind of opened it up when he thought Uncaptured was done running. He didn't just mousy up to Uncaptured and say, no, he was like, well, now it's my team, like in a relay race. And it was just brilliant. And I agree. I mean, to me, when you get a chance to have these guys, these geniuses on them, it is about the horse. It is about the horse, a lot of it, 80% of it. But, boy,
I relate it. My analogy is, yeah, okay, you have to have the horse. Okay, I agree with that. Well, my analogy is go to coaches in professional sports. Bill Belichick doesn't go out on the field. The players are out there. Right. You got to have the players. Right. But wouldn't you rather have Bill Belichick coaching your team or Bill Parcells coaching your team? Some people just have the smarts to know how to play the game. And there are some jockeys that have the smarts to know when to make the move. They're looking 3 moves ahead, and some of them don't. And it's just, I think jockeys make a significant difference, particularly when you're talking about guys like a Rosario. And that move, on the turn was what won him the race. It put Will Take Charge in a bad position on a track that favored the move Rosario made.
Absolutely. One of the things, and I don't talk about it enough, but I'll tell you, if you ask me, when I refer to the genius and everything, I got to tell you something. The part that I love, where I think it really separates the jockeys, and this is Monday through Sunday, race 1 through 9, not just the Don Handicap Grade 1. It's knowing on the racetrack or how the racetrack is playing. I watch jockeys, and I do mention to our group, watch who you think at a given circuit are the best jockeys, and watch where they'll put their horses, whether it's turf racing or dirt racing. 9 times out of 10, they get it right. I mean, they'll see racetracks, and I see the other jockeys who really play the races out as if the racetrack doesn't matter, and I think that's where their lack of genius comes in, whether it's inside. How many times do you see the veteran jockeys leave the 2 or 3 paths for the rail to get in, and you see the young guy just run up in there and everything? Well, there's a reason they're letting you have the shortest way around the racetrack. That's where I think the genius comes in. As you mentioned, stalking runners rooting at Gulfstream Park have been exceptional, and he was probably the best horse. He set a track record. It was a brilliant performance, and by the way, it was a very good performance by Will Take Charge. Now, my fear is...
I don't think Will Take Charge loses anything in that race.
He got beat by a better horse.
He was up against it on that track, which I think has been very hard the whole meet to make up ground in the stretch, and so it was going to be very tough for him. Yeah, it took a track record to beat him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing about horses that I never liked at all was Revolutionary, because he ran big in his comeback race, and now he's stepping up. That's a regression move for me, and if Wayne Lucas doesn't give Will Take Charge enough time off, I could see him making a little regression. He ran he might have run the second best race of his career yesterday. The Breeders' Cup Classic, his 2 best races might be L's. And that's a big performance yesterday. And it was great to see 90 minutes uninterrupted of thoroughbred racing. You saw Lochte scoring a huge upset at Gulfstream Park. And I'll tell you, I mean, it was unfortunate it wasn't live.
WOW.
What's that?
For Groupie Doll.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You had to, I don't bet 2 to 5 shots, and I'm not a sentimentalist that often, but boy, it was easy to root for her going out, and if you had bet her at 2 to 5, boy, what happened at the beginning? And what was good about the telecast was they had the ISO camera on her. And I got to tell you something. Rajiv Murrah had her, she wasn't like getting settled back there. He is like, we have work to do. And for her to, she win by 7? I mean,
Yeah.
she just crushed him.
I mean, down the backstretch, I think you just had to be sitting there going, oh, this
What
is
a bad
unfortunate.
ending.
Yeah, exactly. This is not going to be a good chapter to end the book. But instead, she puts a punctuation on her career with an exclamation point. That was an incredible performance. Two of them bookending the upset in the turf. And I agree. I thought the inaugural Jockey Club Tour broadcast yesterday, they did a very good job. There was nothing spectacular or flashy, but it was workmanlike, and I really didn't have any complaints with it.
Yeah, I thought the only thing that hurt them a little bit was I thought the 90-minute broadcast right out of the box with really just 2 races. And they didn't really use the Gulfstream Park Turf. It gave them a lot of time, and I thought that extra time is places where it got loosey-goosey, the production. But I thought a nice first one out of the box, 60 minutes, 1 race, get a couple of easy interviews. Wayne Lucas. It shocked me. Now, I was doing a little cooking, but I had it on. How was Wayne Lucas? Was Wayne on it?
I don't think he was.
How do you have a production with the easiest get in horse racing with the 3-year-old champion coming out? I didn't hear Wayne. And he's a great 7 minutes for you.
Yeah.
So, but it's great to see the game on. The college basketball game didn't run over. And as I said, anytime the sport is on television, they have a very ambitious schedule going forward. And kudos yesterday. Nice 90-minute production in high definition on a major player. Now it's growing. They need inventory, and it's great. And it was a terrific horse race, and like I said, will take charge, move forward. I'll probably be betting against him second time out after that terrific comeback race. Any other thoughts on the weekend? How about my Candy Boy stepping up? We knew we wouldn't get the price out of the cash call, but
I'm thrilled with the new future pool wager because I took a little, very little, but I took a little Candy Boy in the future pool before the Lewis went
right.
on.
Been saying it for 10 years. People have looked at me, and I think you're one of those people that used to look at me like, what do you mean closing before the race? Because if you like the horse, there's no upside to after the fact.
No, but you can work it out. You get the horses that have the sneaky seconds or thirds that the odds bump up on. So it works out one way or the other.
It worked out then for you.
This time with Candy Boy, it worked out. So I jumped in.
It was good.
I'm jumped in. I'm trying to look here. I jumped in. I got a little Tapiture at 38 to 1, a little Toneless at 48 to 1, and I took Matterhorn. You want to put your horse in your mix, 63 to 1.
Now, what was Candy Boy?
Candy Boy closed at 32 to 1.
All right, that's a ballpark. Yeah, I figure if he moves forward, he's going to be about 5 to 1, 8 to 1 area, and you're getting 4 or 5 times the price. That's the neighborhood. I mean, that's the low end of it. Oh, guys, great job. Look at that. That's why they're the best in the business, boy. Great job, future wager pool number 2. And I own up. I'm not. Well, I got to say one thing. Who's the favorite in here? Honor Code at 12 to 1. That's a little light, but there's some other prices in there that you could live with. Candy Boy at 32 to 1. I could live with him. Midnight Hawk, 19 to 1, not so much. But top billing, you see now there it is, top billing, the second choice. I can't live with that. I love this performance. You talk about a horse set that ran against the grain of the track is top billing that day with Rosario. I mean, the track to come out of the clouds and just dominate the field, which is why he is 13 to 1. So that is future wager pool number 2. Now, Seth, how many did you get? You got 3?
I actually I'm going to toss in. I got Cristo too, the longest price. It's 70. So I took what, 12?
4?
I took 6 of them. I
took 6 of the 23?
6 for, like I say, a little teeny chunk.
All right, well, good job, especially Candy Boy at 32 to 1. That's a rarity for me. That's in the ballpark of acceptable. Now, my thing with Candy Boy is, and I didn't hear John Souther say it, but doing the math, that means only one more race.
That's what he's looking
Santa
at.
Derby.
That was the latest word. Yes, Santa Anita. Yeah.
So there you go. We're off to Arizona and fine weather at Turf Paradise, ladies and gentlemen, and in the opener. 1,000 yards, which we talked about last week, was what, around 4.5? We were talking about 4.5. It reads the Turf Paradise 1,000-yard challenge, $7,500 for 3-year-olds and up. And
yesterday I did do Gulfstream. I think I had 4 to. I didn't.
You have Lochte?
I didn't chart it. I did not have Lochte, but I had Lee or Leah.
I
had the exacta there, but I didn't call it a play of the day. I should have, because who got a $51 exacta? that was a great exacta
Well,
for
talk
those
about it all
two.
the time. You had a field of 11. It's just, field
Yeah,
size
still,
helps you out.
with Will take charge underneath, and I thought Leo was going to take maybe a little more action than the horse did off of that last race. But the top four were all kind of in a similar situation. There was a lot of talk about Revolutionary River 7 as well, and so they were taking a lot too. But again, I did call a couple of plays today with some first-time starters that I didn't get the juice on. So then I was really disappointed I didn't call the play in the feature. But did have, I think it was 4. It might have only been 3 on the day because I didn't actually chart it out. But I had, Hawthor Sal, Groupie Doll, obviously, and then the Don winner as well. The opener at Turf Paradise today, though, 3, 2, 5, and 6. The number 3, looking wild. Boy, this horse, I mean, you talk about a horse on a roll. This is a horse that has, 7 or 8 straight, and it's coming in here with some bullet works. I think this horse is going to be very, very interesting today. Master of the obvious. I mean, we have 8 to 5 on the morning line. Second spot, go with the number 2, Just Meteor. Another horse that seems to be going well over the past 6 starts, 4 wins, a couple of second-place finishes, and most of those at these super sprint type of distances. Was at the 1,000 yards 3 starts back and ran a close-up second-place finish. And then in the third spot, the number 5, Lovin' the Limelight. Another one that's in some pretty good form. Last couple of starts, a second and third, a win just before that. And again, 2 starts back, was at this 1,000 distance and showed some good speed before fading to be third, but certainly has some experience at it, being up in the mix. So for me in the opener, 3, 2, 5, and 6.
Second half of the early daily double, we have 4-year-olds and up. Fillies and Mares, claimers in for $62.50. Non-winners of 3 races in a lifetime, going 6.
2, 5, 4, and 6. The number 2 is Attack Mode. Gets back to the dirt, but moves up from the prior 2 starts on the dirt. Had a couple of wins just prior to the last race. Those were at the 35 conditional level. They were pretty convincing, though. So I don't think this 6,250 is a huge jump talent-wise. Did move up to this level last time and was tossed in a complete dud. But again, that was on the turf. That was going longer. I kind of like the cut back and the move back to the main track. So again, class-wise, maybe a question mark, but I think Attack Mode can do it. Second spot, the number 5, Reclusive. This horse fits if the form is going to hold with the return to the main track, and that's kind of questionable. The dirt starts, the numbers maybe aren't quite as impressive as 2 of the last 3 turf starts. So maybe this horse is better on turf, but being lightly raced, it may also be that this horse is just kind of figuring things out. I'm going to hope the latter, and again, that the form holds with the move back to the main track. Third spot, the number 4, Enter Back. I went back and forth where to put this horse, and I might regret not rating this one higher in the mix on the class relief. Picks up the apprentice jock who's doing so well out there at this meet and makes a turf to dirt move, cuts back in distance, and the class relief again. That's what. What I'm trying to get at is, if you're going to move this one up higher, I won't argue with it. I went, as I say, back and forth, wound up putting it in the third position, but I absolutely might regret it. In the second race, 2, 5, 4, and 6.
On to the 4th race, staying with Fillies and Mares. These claimers in for $3,500. Non-winners at 2 races in a lifetime, rooting on the dirt at a mile.
3, 5, 1, and 6. The number 3 is Clever Memo. And I'm just thinking this horse stretches back to what might be the preferred distance. Last time out, 6.5, ran 4th, but in the 2 starts prior to that was at this mile distance, a nice third and a nice second before that. So again, the mile might be the distance comfort zone for this horse. We'll put Clever Memo on top, moving back to that trip. Second spot, Halo Ray. The number 5 horse might be rounding back to some kind of form that was indicated by the nice third in much tougher company out in Southern California in the career debut. Now, was claimed out of that event, comes back off a long layoff at a lower level. You know, obviously something had to go wrong in the interim. But again, this horse did show some promise when the horse started the career for Bob Baffert out at Hollywood Park in May of last year. Decent third place finish, a decent buyer figure. Now in the first 2 starts back has shown a little improvement, start 1 to start 2. Moves up against some limited winners in here. But I think this horse, again, off of that career debut, I'll just look for this one to be rounding back to some decent form. And in the third spot, the number 1, Storming AJ. Just have to toss this one in the mix off the latest effort. The buyer figure and a close-up second-place finish says this one should be a contender today. If that's indicative of a nice move in the form cycle, and I think it might be. In the third this afternoon, 3, 5, 1, and 6.
And on to the fourth race. Now, Oaklawn Park's been on the sideline, but we've talked about them where right off the bat they were running 3-year-olds and up. And remember, that meet started on January 10th. I noticed in the fourth race at Turf Paradise is for 3-year-olds and up, fillies and mares, non-winners of 2 lifetime. And there is at least one 3-year-old in here on the turf racing about a mile.
I have it 4, 8, 5, and 3. The number 4 is Peppy Miller. This one's a little bit of a head scratcher. Started the career in Maiden Special Weight Company at Gulfstream back in October. Ran an okay third. Winds up over here at Turf Paradise. So gets the serious venue class relief and runs right to that with a easy win here in a maiden optional claimer. Why the move over to the dirt today, or to the turf today after a nice dirt score like that? That's kind of the question mark. But it was a convincing win last time, and maybe this just seemed like a logical spot for them. Now, this one did have a sibling called Tribute that broke its maiden on the turf, so there is a little turf breeding there. So I'll use Peppy Miller on top. But again, it's a little bit of a head scratcher to me that they're kind of doing an experiment after this horse was so convincing in the career day, the career maiden breaker last time on dirt. So I'll put number 4, Peppy Miller, on top, but there are some question marks. Number 8, Cavaletta in the second spot, just on the venue class relief, comes in from Southern California. This horse has been racing on the turf out there, decent buyer figures, and some competitive finishes in and amongst the bunch. And again, with the move to Turf Paradise, Scott Stevens on board, I think this horse is destined to run well today. Number 5, Mames Flame in the third spot. This horse moved to Turf Paradise in October after having spent most of the summer at Canterbury, and since returning to Turf Paradise has been in some pretty good form and in the hunt in all 4 races since the return. So in the fourth, 4, 8, 5, and 3.
On to the fifth race, 4-year-olds and up, fillies and mares. Claimers in for 3,500, non-winners of 2 races a lifetime, dashing 5 furlongs.
3, 2, 5, and 8. The number 3 is Pokusin Game Girl. Northern California Invader is likely going to be dangerous on the front end. Obviously, anytime you come in from Golden Gate, the surface switch is going to be a little bit of a question mark. This horse has been obviously on synthetics, but a nice bullet workout leading into this on the turfway surface. So has shown, at least in the morning, some affinity for this surface. And again, that bullet work also validates that this is going to be the catch me if you can play, pace play in here. So a 3-1 on the morning line. I think Pokusin Game Girl is kind of interesting. Second spot, we will go to the number 2, Sylvia's Secret. Back to the $3,500 level after bumping up last time. Ran well on the move up to $6,250. A decent third place finish, but probably a little more in the comfort zone down at this 35 level. So on a little bit of class relief, that one gets in. And then the number 5 horse, Sassy Diablo, also gets in my mix. 2 good tries since moving down to this 3,500 level, or since moving 2. Down maybe not. I mean, came out of a maiden race at the 5 level. So moving 35 non-2, that actually may be more of a lateral kind of a move. But since breaking the maiden and going into these 35 N2s, a couple of nice second place finishes, so should be in the hunt again today. In the 5th, 3, 2, 5, and 8.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from Turf Paradise.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network. The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Shamrock Showdown on March 1st. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com, or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I gotta move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrill. I'm Anthony Mormino. We're looking at the racing from Turf Paradise this afternoon. We're up to race number 6, and we have 3-year-olds and up. Fillies and Maris Claimers in for 3,000 non-winners of 2 races in 6 months, going 6.
8, 2, 3, and 7. The number 8 is Anadu, and Anadu is on top for me because I just think this horse could be primed to pop in the third start at this level. Came back off a layoff, so essentially this is the 4th start back. But in the first start back was at an N1 calendar condition and won that. I've said it before, sometimes it takes a couple of starts when you move to a new level, and this horse did seem to show a little bit of improvement in the finishing position at this level in the second try at this level last time. So again, it just seems like this horse could be primed to pop today. We'll put Anadu on top. Second spot, we will go with the number 2, Suave's Girl. Might prove interesting on the cutback. Last 3 races, a mile, a mile, a mile and a 16th. And so I think going back to 6 furlongs today just could provide a little bit of punch for this one to maybe break through and get a little bit closer than we've seen, at least in the past couple of starts. And then in the third spot, the number 3, Zena's Affair, getting some class relief in here, has been in some open claiming events, now drops into a calendar condition, and I think that is just enough class relief that this horse could be a little bit interesting in here today, particularly because in that open company, this horse is being very, very competitive. So in the 6th today, 8, 2, 3, and 7.
On to the 7th race, 4-year-olds and up. For those in for $3,000, non-winners of a race in 6 months, racing 5.5.
I don't know how much value we'll get, but I'm going to call it play of the day in here, go 3 deep with an exacta box. And again, it's one of those where look at the probable pays and maybe go 3 deep and then a little stronger with the top 2 or key the top pick over the next 2. You make the call there when you see what the probables are looking like. But I'm going to box up my top 3. 3, 8, 2, and 1. The number 3 is Bryant. Just seems best on the numbers and not convincingly over my next pick. But I think over the last 3 starts has shown enough punch and the numbers are consistent enough that I just went a little bit in this direction. Scott Stevens on board. Second spot, the number 8, Incisive. Also has some decent numbers that are competitive with my top pick, just maybe not as consistently over the last 3. But I think both of these top 2 probably have a little bit of an edge on the rest of the field. So I think 3, Bryant is the way I'm tilting slightly on top. 8, Incisive next. I think those 2 do have a little bit of an edge on the rest of the bunch, though. But number 2, Northern Choice, just was a little bit of a concern for me. This is a horse that's going to contend if ready, but has been off since August. So the layoff is a little bit of a concern. Trainer is a little bit cool at the meet, at least on the win end. So I just couldn't quite pull the trigger. But this horse does scare me enough that I'll throw it in the exacta mix as well. But again, if you want to go a little stronger on the top 2, that might make sense. Box up my top 3 in here. I call it in race 7, 3, 8, 2, and 1.
On to the 8th race, we have 4-year-olds and up. Claimers in for $62.50. Non-winners to 3 races a lifetime. On the turf, racing about a mile.
5, 3, 1, and 8. The number 5 is a day away. Gets some class relief in the second start since moving from Southern California. Typically, I like that venue class relief, but this horse on the first start back in November on the move from Southern California was in some allowance company. Might be finding this group a little bit more to his liking at the 6,250 level. So again, off a little bit of a layoff, that might be a concern, but we have a high percentage trainer, and I think on the class relief, a day away, might find the second start over the track a little more conducive to running better. Second spot, I have the number 3 Pork Chop. Just seems to be in some pretty good form. Last 3 starts, you go 3 back, a nice win. Followed that up at the 10 level, running 5th, but knocked down to this 6,250 level last time and just missed. So again, I think we're in the comfort zone and we're in some pretty good form. And then in the 3rd spot, the number 1 Spirit of Lindy. Pretty good try versus similar company last time. Nice 3rd place finish just behind Pork Chop. So I think both of those coming off of that race last time fit in with this particular bunch today. In the 8th, 5, 3, 1, and 8.
In the finale, we have 4-year-olds and up. Maiden Claimers in for 5,000, racing 6.
8, 2, 7, and 3. I'm going to tread very lightly in here because I don't have a whole lot of confidence, but I think there'll be some value to maybe play around. I'm going to do a win place on my top pick in a 4-horse exacta box. I'm going to use the first-time starter on top, unintended results. Now, this is an Illinois bred, but had some New York bred siblings that we may remember. A sibling called Redefined, 4th in the career debut, then 8th, then 3rd, and then 1 in the 4th career start, but did wind up to be a New York bred stakes winner of over $460,000. That was the sibling Redefined. Another sibling we may remember from the New York circuit, Rudy. That one was 2nd in its Saratoga debut back in 2010. So again, I think there's a little bit of precociousness in the breeding. The trainer can get them ready first time out of the box, a nice steady string of workouts, and a field that is mostly loaded with horses that have had plenty of chances and haven't gotten it done, and for the most part haven't gotten it done at low buyer figures as well. So we'll take a shot with the first-time starter, unintended results on top. 2nd spot, the number 2, Click Here. Just buyer figure-wise, seems perhaps the best of the rest, particularly off the last few, which were good finishing positions as well. And then the number 7, Ribeye. Getting back to the main track should be a contender in here. You know, the turf to dirt angle, and certainly prior to that turf start was showing a little bit better performance-wise on the dirt. We'll throw in the other first-time starter in the exacta mix as well, Cat's Bolero. I will say the number 9, Tupolev Bomber, scares me a little bit, certainly off of the last start. But that looked like a little bit of an aberration. But I will say the 9 scares me a little bit. But in this one, again, I'll tread lightly, but I think it might be a fun way to end the day. A win place on my top pick, the number 8, 4-horse exacta box, 8, 2, 7, and 3.
That wraps up our look at Turf Paradise. Take a quick break. When we come back, Monday racing at the Big A.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Monday morning. Seth Merrill and Anthony Mormino in here. We just took a look at Turf Paradise for Monday afternoon. Now we'll shift our attention to New York and Aqueduct. Their opener today is a maiden claiming event, claiming tags $35,000. These are fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going a mile.
And Eric Donovan been doing yeoman work of late at NYRA. The first race right out of the box, like this race, 462, number 4, Boxford Bell, who is 12-1 on the morning line for Cornelio Velasquez, who has just kept some good momentum going through the weekend. Ned Allard sends this horse in. I like the race off of the 14-month layoff. I don't think it should be that taxing. Get a bounce-back race off of the December 28th comeback race at Parks. In for $35,000, which is a monetary climb off the comeback race. And I've talked about it before that I like horses off a defeat who at a claiming level, whether it's maiden claiming or claiming step up the tag. 12-1. As I peruse this, I have to think that that's folly. Even with the even money favorite I'm going to get to in a moment, I think Boxford Bell might be the second choice in the wagering. If not, we're happy to take what they give us. For second, number 6, Star Empress, even money on the board. After the career debut at Presque Isle in August of 2012, returned to the race about 15 months later and has run 5 consecutive third-place finishes. Now, 4 of the 5 were maiden special weights. The 5th was maiden claiming in for 50. Boy, you're hitting the board all those times, and you run for 35 today, certainly coming out of the powerful David Jacobson barn. We've seen Taylor Rice, who has had a terrific week. The last 5 or 7 racing days in New York, boy, she has just had it going on. And Star Empress, I will be interested because I will say that I know you have 5 consecutive third-place finishes. Your Beyer speed figures just dominate over this field, but I just don't see this horse at a 2-5 type of price. And with David Jacobson sending out this horse, boy, I mean, I will give a little bit that Star Empress on paper is by far the fastest horse in the race. But oof. For third, number 2, Irate Exuberance takes the blinkers off this afternoon after a nice performance going the mile, comes back at that distance once again. I think does have enough early speed, tactical speed to stay in this fight. 4, 6, and 2.
Race number 2 this afternoon, plain vanilla claimer at the $16,000 level, 4-year-olds and up. It will go 3/4 of a mile.
And taking the David Jacobson horse in the second race at a 5-2 morning line. It is 2, 4, 3 my selections, and Newton Crescent gets my top pick, going out for David Jacobson, shipping up from Tampa Bay effort after running in East Boston. Comes off of a second-place finish with blinkers down at Tampa. Right now, I'm going to presume that the blinkers are staying on. Taylor Rice has the mount, and obviously they have been a potent combination of late. And in this case, I'd be happy to sign up for 5-2. For second, number 4, Majestic Number, claimed for $20,000 out of the most recent effort by Greg DePrima. Goes out at 8-5 here with Manny Esquivel, scheduled to have the mount for the first time. This horse is 5 for 11 lifetime. And for third, number 3, Giant Indian, 10-1 on the morning line, coming out of the powerful Chris Engelhardt barn. First time off the claim. The claim was back in mid-December. 2-4-3 in the second.
Race number 3 this afternoon is a state-bred maiden claiming event. $25,000 tags, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going a mile.
And another race where we might have a short price favorite on the outside, but we will go 1, 6, and 7. And drawing the rail, Locks of Gold. We take the rail position in here, running in this condition for the second time after 8 consecutive tries, maiden claiming tag, open company, and ran very well at 18-1 to finish off the board, only beating 2+ lengths, only the second start since late October. Like that as a tune-up for this race. Angel Royal gets the mount. He's down inside. Horse has good tactical speed, especially use a little bit early and then just let the chips fall where they may. For second, number 6, going out for Glenn DeSanto. A couple of good efforts. And then an off-the-board finish at 4-1 racing, a mile 70. That was at this level. For third, number 7, Sky Lassie. Gary Contessa's runner. Back-to-back third-place finishes in the Aqueduct Inner Dirt Track debut. Now it comes in at 7-5. Has already lost at even money and 2-1. Does get Taylor Rice for the first time this afternoon. 1-6-7.
Fourth race this afternoon, a state-bred allowance event. Allowance conditions, non-winners are one other than. Again, New York-bred 3-year-old fillies going 6 furlongs.
And to me, it's clear that obviously Taylor Rice has caught on. She's used the family leg, but now other trainers are starting to use her. 2, 7, and 5. And number 2 is Long Ride to Wisdom. Gary Contessa's runner going out for the second start after being claimed for $16,000. Wilmer Garcia was aboard the first start off of the claim at nearly 40-1. Ran much better than odds, finishing runner-up. That was in starter allowance, and off of that race, you see running an entry-level allowance. It is a big jump up, but I've talked about this many, many, many times before, that the athlete is in maybe peak form, going in the right direction. The step up makes sense, and usually will get the price. For second, on the outside, a lot of short price horses today at 8-5. Henry's Gal, David Jacobson claimed this horse out of the career debut victory for $35,000. And even though the horse won that race, David Jacobson, no problem. We'll just run for 75 in the second start and win by a pole at 7-5. Now this offspring of Disco Rico tries to make it 3 in a row. And for third, number 5, Jen's Miracle, also claimed out of their career debut victory. Gary Contessa sent out this first-time starter for a W. Dominic Cicchino claimed this horse. Rajiv Mraz scheduled for the mount today. 2-7-5.
Fifth race this afternoon, conditional claiming event. Claiming tags 12,500. The condition non-winners are 3 lifetime. 4-year-olds and up, they'll go 6 furlongs.
5-9-1 for me, and number 5, Lucy the Lion, goes out after a good effort off of a freshening. Really in the mix at better than almost 25-1, and then just fatigued in the end. I'm hoping that will build the foundation going forward 10 days later. For a second, on the outside, number 9, Rip. Trevor McCarthy, who came on our radar screen about 9-10 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, when the spring meet at Pimlico opened up. I think that was April 4th, right out of the box. Then he got injured, and that sidelined him, and I think it would have been a tremendous battle, not only locally with him and Victor Carrasco going out for the local laurels, but also the national laurels. But Trevor McCarthy has come to New York and finds a winner a day in the David Jacobson, on David Jacobson's mount this afternoon. For third, scheduled to break for the number 2 post position. More correctly on OTB.com, capitalotb.com, I'll take either half of the entry in case Linda Rice scratches him. I'd be happy with either one, whether the 1 or the 1A. But number 1, Mr. Style, is scheduled to break from the number 2 post position after a good runner-up position race going 5.5 most recently in a 3L race. 5, 9, and 1 in the 5th.
That'll bring us to our last commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue our look at Aqueduct. Stay tuned.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right. The 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the Shamrock Showdown on March 1st. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Welcome back. We'll continue now our look at Aqueduct with race number 6, a state-bred maiden special weight event, 4-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16.
264, ladies and gentlemen. Ronnie's Way gets my top pick, making the 4th career start, 2nd time Lasix. The career debut, not much to write home about, but the subsequent 2 efforts, seem to be marching in the right direction. Mike Luzzy gets him out for the 2nd time for Leo O'Brien, who seemed to be Leo O'Brien almost took a decade off, but boy, in the depth of this winter, you have seen him in the winner's circle. And by the way, Seth, I think I heard the early part of the show yesterday. You had a question about John Sheriffs and Blingo.
Wasn't in the winner's circle?
He was there.
In the winner's circle?
He had his traditional ball cap and jacket on. He was right there. I don't know. It was a tough view for him, but he was right there.
I saw Jerry Moss, but I did not see
the horse came over. I saw Aaron Grider, and when the horse was then looking into the winner's circle, I could see, you know how tall John Sheriffs is. He always has a ball cap on, and he had a coat on, and he was saying something probably to Aaron Grider directly. He had a big smile on his face and laughing. But I heard, I saw John Sheriffs yesterday, 2 days ago, I should say, for the San Antonio, which, as I said, really, I don't know if anybody noticed, probably your partner Steve Bick did, it's really become an amalgamation of the Stroob now. I don't know if you noticed that, but they shortened the Stroob, moved it, dropped the San Fernando, and because the Stroob and the San Antonio have been such short fields of late, they melded them together in the usual spot. But Ronnie's Way, to me, Leo O'Brien, and I bring up the John Sheriff thing, because you've seen Leo O'Brien in the depths of the winter in the winner's circle at the Big A, and it's quite refreshing to see an outstanding trainer who's winning races in New York. For second, number 6, Midnight Missile, scheduled to make the 3rd career start after back-to-back 4th-place finishes for this offspring of Golden Missile going out for Charlton Baker. Manny Franco gets him out for the first time, and here's a young man we've been watching since May at Monmouth Park, and he's on a winning streak in New York. For 3rd, number 4, Hitter Fitz. John Hurley sends out this runner for the 11th career start, 264.
7th race is a state-bred allowance condition, non-winners of 1 other than 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 6 furlongs.
936, and yes, I am hoping for a lot of outside action this afternoon, as I've been mostly looking at a couple of second-place horses at short prices on the outside. But Ed's Magic for young Mr. Ortiz, the younger or the 2, and we have been watching ever since we mentioned the brothers winning 2 a day. I've sort of been the SI jinx, but we had Lasix for the 8th career start for this offspring of Grand Reward, who most recently just got outgunned sprinting, but before that was on a good cycle. For 3rd, number 2, Sneaky Freud. First off, the $16,000 claim for Jim Aquilino, going out after a good second-place finish at better than 6-1. Camilo Rodriguez scheduled to have the mount for the first time today. And for 3rd, number 6, Half Nelson. Tom Albertrani's runner was off for nearly 15 months and then has come out back and steadily raced well, including most recently until the pace and between horses got to this 8-5 shot and then just fatigued badly. 936.
8th race today is a state-bred optional claiming event. Claiming tags $30,000. The condition, non-winners of 2 other than 4-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16.
And I didn't get your thoughts, and I'm sure you're just going to say yes, sir. Your thoughts on Belmont Stakes Day in New York?
I have kind of mixed thoughts. We talked to Dave Grenig about it, and I'm not sure what it's going to do to Memorial Day. It is certainly going to bump up Belmont Stakes Day. I'm wondering, do they need it? Certainly if a Triple Crown's on the line, they don't. They're going to get the big crowd anyway, and if there isn't a Triple Crown on the line, is it going to boost up their attendance and handle that much? I'm not sure. So I'm kind of reserving judgment, but I give them credit at least for making a bold move. And it's kind of a middle of the year, almost a Breeders' Cup kind of a card, right. So maybe it'll attract more attention than I'm anticipating.
My take was it on a couple different things. One is that Memorial Day isn't an event anymore. That was part of it, taking the Met Mile, which I think as regular viewers of this program know, it's my favorite race of the year. I think it's one of the great races in America. I think it makes, I don't think it will affect attendance at all, but I think it makes for in my opinion, and as a guy who's not so over the moon about the Derby from a marketing standpoint, I think it's the second best day of racing in the United States. And I think most people know I think the Saturday of the Breeders' Cup is the best day of racing. I mean, when you talk about having the Metropolitan Mile on the undercard of the Belmont Stakes, from a thoroughbred racing standpoint, I think it makes it the second best.
And they
of the
kicked
day.
into the purses enough. I think they're going to get legitimate
1.25
contenders
million.
in there. So, like I say, I'm kind of reserving judgment. But and Dave Grenick made the point they wouldn't talk about admission prices.
No.
When they
Well,
first
you know
brought it
why?
up, and he's saying they're
$20.
they're going to kick them up, but it's going to become a very fine line because you kick it up too much. You don't want your inaugural edition of this to see the attendance take a little bit of a hit. So you got to. It's a fine line of where you put
the
that.
problem
that
Naira
price.
and Belmont has always had is they've been atypical. The other two. The other two, this is standard operating procedure.
But it's a different kind of event at both of those other venues. You have to admit that.
It's not as big an event for Belmont.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. That's why they are atypical. They can't charge the same kind of prices.
Except when the Triple Crown is on the line. 642, ladies and gentlemen. Go get the basil. Not basil, but the basil. Been very sharp of late for Rick Violet, whose barn has been very, very sharp of late. Jose Ortiz, he gets them out on the third start since the early part of September. For second, number 4, Street Lord. Love the form of late coming out of the very good barn of Charlton Baker. Irad Ortiz gets them out. You see these guys finish 1-2 often enough. For third, number 2, Ghostly Vision. Dominic Cecchino's runner scheduled to make the first start since a November 3rd, third place finish on the main track. This horse has had 4 tries on the inner, never been off the board with 1 victory. Angel Arroyo gets them out today, and one of the questions I had is if Mr. Irad Ortiz went elsewhere as the former regular rider of Ghostly Vision. 6-4-2.
Ninth race this afternoon is a maiden claiming event, 12-5 tags. They are 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs.
8-4-7, ladies and gentlemen. Rudy Rodriguez first off the claim for 12-5. Sends out number 8, Kissed and Missed with his silks in the saddle. Very, very nice debut for me. Not a 7-5, but the old fact of up on the pace, deceleration, awful final running position, awful final beaten lengths, much better price this afternoon. For second and 4, Ronto's Code. Been a consistent runner. I make this the horse to beat for the Marat gang. Has good early speed. For third, number 7, Unbridled Bear. Linda Rice sends out this runner with Taylor Rice. Only the second start since the Ides of March. The comeback race was a runner-up performance about 30 days ago. 8-4-7 in this afternoon's finale from the Big A on Monday afternoon, which hopefully we'll have today. It looks like they're going to be a go.
I think so, yeah.
I checked, and this afternoon on Capital Off Track Betting TV 12, our in-home simulcasting kicks off with the Big A, followed by Parks, Beulah, Sam Houston, Turf Paradise, Dover, Northfield, Pompano, Yonkers, and Woodbine Harness later on this evening. And if you missed any of Seth's selections from Turf Paradise or mine for the Big A, CapitalOTB.com. Click on the Handicappers Report. You'll get all of our selections very nicely laid out. We invite you to go to CapitalOTBBet.com for our state-of-the-art wagering platform. Sign up for a Capital Bets account. You become eligible for our year-round contest. Seth, what do we have kicking off Monday on Racing Across America?
Monday means a regular visit from Mike Penn. We'll do a little recap of the stakes action from the weekend. We're also going to be joined by Eric Donovan from the New York Racing Association. He'll give us some of his thoughts on
Been doing a lot of work
this
down
afternoon's
there.
start. Yeah,
on the broadcast side, the television side. He's been doing, well, I forget what they call it, but I call it thoroughbred action since 1986. Excuse me. So Eric, the racing in New York, going through the winter time, and nice kickoff yesterday. A couple of his colleagues down in South Florida for number 1. Now, what is the next show? I think they're doing something for the Dubai World Cup.
Yes, Dubai may be the next one.
Okay. And my question is, what time is that race? Is it like a 7-hour difference?
Yeah, good question.
The telecast going to be on like 1 to 2 in the afternoon leading into college basketball?
Good question. I don't know.
It was a nice fit yesterday, as long as it finishes up. They had college basketball on the front side. The back side was Creighton and St. John's. And as long as those games, live sports doesn't run over, it was terrific. They had 90 minutes, and, hopefully it's another opportunity for this great sport to find itself findable in a regular spot in a big-time channel Has a nice round number. I think it's 400 on the dial, which is always a nice spot. So good kickoff, and you get a track record performance. The 3-year-old champion runs second, and you had a huge price in the Gulfstream Park Turf Handicap. That wraps up the Handicappers Report. Please stay tuned. Up next, Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.